After years of following announcements, concept art and construction, I recently finally got to explore Batuu, and exploring it almost feels like you've stepped onto a Star Wars movie set for a new, never-before-seen film, which comes with its own positives and negatives. Whilst it's amazing to walk around and explore such a detailed environment, in areas it feels lifeless and sterile, more like a museum than a bustling outpost on a far-off planet. We had a great time exploring Batuu, building a saber and finally getting to pilot the Millennium Falcon, but Black Spire Outpost isn't without its issues. In a few months' time, Rise of the Resistance will finally open and help in making the land feel more complete. But even if it's the best ride in the world, it still won't help fix some of the underlying issues in the land. For ReviewTyme, I'm Luke, and this is our review of Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge. Theming. The land's detailed and grand scale of theming is truly spectacular, and where the land really shines. Walking around to see the reveal of the Falcon is one of the few moments of awe I've had in a theme park that matches walking under the Miracosta and seeing the reveal of Mount Prometheus at Disney Sea, or the astonishment a child feels when they round Main Street, USA to see Cinderella Castle. Whilst the Falcon is the most iconic and photographed part of the land, there are plenty of other great places to explore in this massive land, including the bustling marketplace, a resistance outpost, and even the landing pad for a never-before-seen First Order TIE echelon. Incredible detail has gone into the land, its backstory, and the characters who inhabit Black Spire Outpost, both those we see and those we don't. Backstage, there is apparently an encyclopedia-sized book with all the stories, lore, and characters of Black Spire Outpost, even including pictures of characters we, the guests, will never see. Other great theming pieces throughout the land include Doc Ondar working hard, keeping the books in his shop, the poor, deactivated droids around, and 8D J8, a droid with dreams of being a chef who has sadly been reprogrammed to turn this wheel forevermore at Ronto Roasters. One of my favourite pieces of theming, which has a great canonical backstory, though most people would never know it, is the blaster shots outside Ogre's house, which is where she shot at an ex-partner Wookiee who was running away from her at the time. Merchandise. The merchandise on Batuu ranges from the spectacular to the utterly bizarre, and everything in between. The land gives you plenty of chances to part with your money, with a marketplace in the middle, which is pretty much a big, immaculately themed Star Wars mall, featuring a number of small specialist stores. One thing I do love is how the items sold in the land are all Black Spire Outpost or Batuu specific, as if it's a real tourist destination. Nothing is branded to Star Wars or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and some items do feel and look handmade to fit in with the storyline of the land. Some of our standout stores and items have to include the Jewels of Bits store, where I could have almost bought one of everything. This is the home for anything you want branded with Black Spire Outpost or Batuu. The plush toys from Toydarian and Toymaker are also incredibly cute, giving a nice simplistic spin on the characters we all know and love. I simply had to pick up an Ewok and Watto plush. Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities also had a great variety of items from Kyber crystals to character busts and so much more. Plus, even if you don't want to buy anything, it's worth having a look around and admiring the immaculate detail that has gone into the store's design. Of course, the items in Batuu have both the Disney and Star Wars premium on them, so don't expect anything to be cheap. And even if you only want a few items, the prices can easily add up. Experiences. Experiences such as rides, interactivity, and so much more are where the best theme park lands truly shine. And whilst we did really enjoy Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, in our opinion it's only the third best experience in the land, with Savi's lightsabers and Ogre's Cantina being better in our mind. Though, with the high price of entry and reservation requirements, a lot of people won't get to experience these. As both a gamer and a fan of Star Wars, I greatly enjoyed my ability to finally get behind the control panel of the Falcon on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Over our visits to the land, I had the chance to try all 3 positions, and whilst pilot is easily the most fun, even if just for the cries of punch it from your teammates, all jobs had at least some enjoyment, though for some it's mostly just relaxing and actually watching the mission. I can understand the complaints from people though, even if they don't apply to me. Some people just want to sit back and enjoy a ride, not be the sole means of that ride's success or failure. To me, I'm glad this experience exists, especially for its rewritability. I don't believe, however, that this ride can anchor a huge land like this completely, and only having one ride is a huge factor in the land feeling lifeless and empty. The true standout experience in the land in our eyes is Savi's workshop, where the gatherers will help you assemble scrap metal and a rare, sought-after kyber crystal into your very own lightsaber. I wasn't sure what to expect when I booked this experience, but it truly is an immersive, emotional experience that has some spectacular, magical moments I won't spoil here. The experience, though, will sadly be unavailable to a lot of guests due to its high price point. Sadly, the Droid Workshop isn't quite as magical of an experience as Savi's, though is still a lot of fun, letting you create your own custom BB or R2 unit, with my girlfriend leaving the land with her very own BB Grape. Of course, the bantha in the room has to be Rise of the Resistance, originally scheduled to open with the land before being pushed back multiple times to its current scheduled opening in December at Hollywood Studios and January at Disneyland. If everything I'm hearing about the experience is correct, this ride looks to be spectacular, and truly pushes the boundaries on what we expect from a theme park ride. The ride won't be a magical fix-all for the land though, even if it is the best ride in the world when it opens. We are incredibly excited to finally get to ride this attraction in the coming years, and truly hope it lives up to the hype. Food and beverages. Galaxy's Edge has tried to come up with the must-have snacks from the Star Wars universe and spread them throughout the land. From the bizarre tasting spicy sweet popcorn to the awesome, albeit expensive, souvenir-themed Coke bottles, and of course the utterly divisive blue and green milk. In my group of 4, I was the only one who actually enjoyed both the blue and green milk, with me slightly swaying towards green being my more favourable of the two. The only item we got to try at Docking Bay 7 was the Mustafarian lava roll for breakfast, which was essentially a cinnamon roll topped with Oreos. Whilst it was quite tasty, the standout breakfast item for us had to be the Ronto morning wrap at Ronto Roasters, which is a great way to start your Batuian day. The best food and beverage, though mostly beverage, experience in the land though is Ogre's Cantina, one of the galaxy's most infamous watering holes, and the only place you can get an alcoholic beverage at Disneyland outside the elusive Club 33. Between our group, we got to try a number of items on the menu, including the Yub Nub, a deliciously tropical drink in an amazing souvenir mug, and the T16 Skyhopper, which almost tasted like an alcoholic version of the classic Japanese melon soda float. Of course, as you sip on your otherworldly drink concoctions, you are entertained by none other than DJ Rex spinning the tunes, easily the best piece of entertainment on offer in the land. Just be aware that Ogre's Cantina does require reservations, which can be made online in advance. Also note that a reservation does not guarantee you a seat. Whilst we were lucky enough to be seated in a booth, most guests only had standing tables or the bar to lean against. Atmosphere. The biggest problem with the atmosphere of the land is that it lacks kinetics. It has these awesome, massive showpieces, but nothing really moves. And kinetics and movement are something that has always been a staple of a Disney park. Look at the wonder of Tomorrowland back in the day. A few clever audio effects simulating overhead flight, or a radio left on the pod racing channel, or tools left scattered around suggests the presence of other life forms, but you never see them. Apart from a few, albeit spectacular animatronics, There are no alien life forms on the planet to interact with, no droids roaming around, no bounty hunters who have come to track us down for crashing the Falcon, all of which were part of the initial land proposal before being quietly cut before debut by Bob Chapek. Speaking of cuts from Bob Chapek, one of the biggest losses to the land that was ultimately cut has to be the entertainment. The biggest reason for the land feeling dead is that all of the character interactions, roaming droids, mini shows and stunt performances were cut at the last minute to save money on expensive specialized entertainment wages. This is why roaming the land now are just a few characters like Rey, Chewbacca, and some First Order stormtroopers who simply had the budget reallocated from elsewhere in the park. Frustratingly, Bob Chapek said the gaps would be filled by every cast member in the land developing a character and acting with the guests. But as someone who has worked in theme parks, we don't have the time for any of that. And whilst cast members are incredibly talented, they aren't paid a premium to LARP with guests. Huge respects to the CM who were in character completely, but I hold no grudges against those who have regretted the move to Batuu and lost some of their character's charm along the way. Final thoughts. I really enjoyed my first ever visit to Batuu and a galaxy far, far away. But every time I went back on the same trip, I noticed more and more gaps in the finished product. Gaps that shouldn't have existed if we look back at the original plans for the land. A lot of problems could and hopefully will be fixed with the re-edition of the cut entertainment, fast tracking of the cut dinner theater project, and successful opening of Rise of the Resistance. But Disney had one chance to knock it out of the park and blow guests out of the water with their biggest, most expensive land to date, and they flubbed that chance, making Disney look out of touch with its guests. Don't get me wrong, Galaxy's Edge has more good than bad, and I can't wait to get back again once Rise of the Resistance opens. I just wish the land was closer to what we were originally shown, a bustling outpost full of aliens, bounty hunters and droids, rather than the lifeless museum we were ultimately presented with. But what are your thoughts on Galaxy's Edge? Have you visited? What did you think? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below. For Review Time, I'm Luke. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing.